Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here this afternoon with us at our virtual platform for the scientific lectures hosted by Sharjah Archaeology Authority. Today, we are pleased to welcome Dr. Herbert Maschner, our special guest from the United States. Dr. Herbert Maschner is the President and Chief Scientist of the international NGO Global Digital Heritage. He is an archaeologist specializing in 3D imaging, digital heritage, and virtual museum. Originally trained as an archaeologist, he received his bachelor degrees from the University of New Mexico, his master's degree from the University of Alaska, and his PhD from the University of California, Santa Barbara. He has held professorship at Idaho State University and the University of South Florida in the fields of anthropology, archaeology, and geosciences. For 10 years, he was director of the Idaho Museum of Natural History. He is the author of or co-author of 15 books, 152 articles and book chapters, and over 250 conference papers. He has or is currently conducting archaeological or digital heritage project in Alaska, Honduras, France, Guatemala, Italy, Portugal, Spain, Uzbekistan, Morocco, Turkey, and of course in Sharjah Arab Emirates. Today, he will be sharing with us his expert opinion on the 3D digitization for heritage, archaeology and education, global digital heritage, and the Sharjah Archaeology Authority. Dr. Herbert, mic is yours.
Good morning.
Good morning.
One moment, and I will come to the video. Good morning to everyone. Thank you for participating today. I want to thank you for the Sharjah Archaeology Authority for sponsoring this, this presentation, and I hope you find it interesting and entertaining. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint now. I'll be moving back and forth between PowerPoint and video, and if there's any problem, somebody just yell at me and tell me what's going on, and I'll try to fix it. Okay, so share screen. We're going back here. There we are. And so this is the presentation. Let's see if I can get this to move. Okay, so Global Digital Heritage is a not-for-profit private research and education organization dedicated to documenting, monitoring, and preserving our global digital and cultural heritage. We use digital visualization, 3D virtualization, geospatial informatics, and open access solutions to provide digital data and 3D models to governments, regional institutions, museums, local scholars, and of course, the public. A key element of our mission is the democratization of science. We make all data freely available to the world in support of cultural heritage, heritage management, education, public access, scientific research, and to enhance the digital humanities and all the sciences. So we use these virtualization technologies to digitize entire collections, entire museums, entire archaeological sites and landscapes. We create virtual repositories of specimens, museum collections, archaeological sites, and heritage landscapes that are available to any student, any child, any scientist, or any enthusiast, any member of the public, anywhere in the world. We create online analytical tools for education and research. Our virtual repository approach allows for the study and appreciation of places, monuments, and collections on a global scale, and provides a means to highlight the importance of those collections to communities around the world. In the face of an increasingly hostile world, a global landscape where conflict, natural disaster, tourism, development, and climate change are destroying our shared cultural heritage at accelerating rates, we provide 3D digital services to document and preserve places and specimens important to cultural heritage. We then return all of the data and results to a host institution or regional local authorities who can do anything they wish with the materials, anything at all. So now I'm going to give you some examples of our work from around the world. This is a series of short videos that show some of our activities. So the first one I'm going to show you is our documentation of the Roman temple in Évora, Portugal. Okay, this is our documentation of the Museum of Natural History in Paris. Just to give you an example of what we can do with the laser scanners. And it seems to be moving a little bit slowly. And so I'm going to fix something here. Just give me one moment. I'm going to stop and go to my video here. And Alex, can you help me find where that was yesterday? Because it's not doing the video appropriately. And where's the sound? Okay, let's see if that works a little bit better. Yes, it's working a little bit better. I still don't have the sound, Alex, from yesterday. Okay. And so this is what kind of work we do in museums. Now, if we're in the field, we do things like this. We are working, this is the Roman theater at Sagalassos, Turkey. It's a combination of drone data, laser scanning, and ground-based photography. So just to give you another example of how we approach large-scale architecture. Okay, I'm going to pause for just a moment and try to fix the sound on something here. Something's not quite working the way we want on the videos, so just give me one moment. I cannot find where we did this yesterday. Okay, we think we're set? Okay. All right, we'll go to the next one. It's always a challenge in this time of COVID to do new presentations. This is a project we did in 2019. 3D models we did with photogrammetry and laser scanning. They're from a number of different sites spread across Sharjah, Dibba, and Maleha, things in the museums. Come back to Sketchfab and I'll show you some of the models in a few moments. Okay, so this is a thing we did, a short video of some of our work from the air, because an important part of our digital documentation is just documenting heritage from the air to make sure that we have these permanent records. Of course, we also use this to create the 3D models. Some of our work in Spain. Of course, Turkey, Sagalassos. Work in Portugal. Italy. France. Just examples of some of our drone work. Now moving directly to Sharjah, we have two campaigns, 2019 and 2020. And the two field campaigns totaling approximately 30 days, we documented over 300 artifacts, 100 archaeological sites, historic buildings and excavations, and we took over 300,000 photographs and 650 laser scans. We've now finished more than 500 3D models, all of which are online, and I'll show you some in a moment, to create the largest collection of 3D heritage data in the world from a single country. These are some of the places we've worked in the 2 different years. Everything from Neolithic to 19th century, if not later, 20th century, and artifacts going back as far as the Paleolithic. And here's an example of some of the photos we've done, artifacts, the 2 years, sites and features, and the total number of photos is down here that we've taken, approximately 300,000. We also do 360 images, we do lots of video, laser scanning, a complete documentation package. In the field, one of our primary techniques is the laser scanner. We use laser scanners from Faro. These are accurate to approximately 1 millimeter and produce a scaled 3D model, exact replication of whatever we happen to be scanning. We also use handheld laser scanners for some of the more difficult artifacts. And the majority of the work we do in museums is photogrammetry, and we have a number of turntable systems that we use to document the heritage. We also are very interested in having exact data for georeferencing, so we have a differentially corrected GPS that we can use in the area that gives us accuracy to about 1 centimeter. I'll come back to this site in a moment. Here we are mapping individual rock art panels at Katam al-Maleha in Kalba, in Sharjah. We'll come back to this in a few minutes. Here we are, and we also use the drones, of course. Here we are at Katam al-Maleha in Kalba. just to give an example. And in the next video, we'll see some more imagery of Sharjah that we did just this year. This was all from February of this spring. This is at the Malaya Archaeological Center. And Al-Madam. This is at Jabal Abu Hayas. So if we look at Jabal Abu Hayas, for example, on this site Al-Madam, we go from taking photos with the drone to a 3D model such as this. And the process we do this is a couple of different software programs, but this is a accurate 3D representation of the reconstruction at this site. So where do we put all this information? Well, now we're going to go to a website called Sketchfab. And this is where we keep everything for right now. And we'll go to the Global Digital Heritage page at Sketchfab. And I may have to share this. Yes, I do. One moment. New share. Sketchfab. Share. Okay. You should all be seeing our Sketchfab page right now. And this is where we keep all of the 3D models. And if one goes to collections at Sketchfab under Global Digital Heritage, this is where we have everything from Alaska, from Portugal, from Sicily, from Sharjah, of course, from all over the world. And we'll go down and look at one of the collections here. And this is a collection of materials we scanned in 2019 from the Sharjah Archaeology Authority. We can click on one of these 3D models. We can raise it up to full size. And this is a Roman glass from the important excavation that Dr. Sabah did at Dibba. And it's a beautiful piece, and you can look at it, you can blow it up, you can zoom in and see the details of the glass. We can go find a different item. We can pick, oh, let's pick ceramic. Here we go, from Malaya. Takes a moment to open. And here we have one of the reconstructed vases from Malaya. You can upside down. And this, of course, excuse me, can be exported to programs where you could do measurements right on the screen, and you can do cross sections and different kinds of analysis. We can also go to some of the archaeological sites. Let me go back to our collections. Collections. We have a whole collection of just the field archaeology from Sharjah, where we have the recent Spanish excavations here, tombs of various kinds, an unexcavated necropolis here at Jabal Abu Hayas. We can pick, we can look at, let's look at the 3D model of the 19th century fortification at Fili. It takes a moment to come full resolution. Here's the whole excavation and the ruins of this site. And you can go right in and look at individual aspects of the stones if you are interested in such things. Let's pick a different site. We will look at a tomb tomb 61 from Jabal Abu Hayas. And you can see the resolution is quite good. The accuracy is within a centimeter. If you were to do measurements on this, you could do measurements right here on the tomb and not even have to visit the actual tomb. Now, there's different ways you can look here in this. You can search in collections. For example, we can go just search on Sharjah in the general website, and then we can go to collections, and you see all of our different collections. We'll come back to Khatam al-Maleha, the rock art site, in a few minutes, but this is the work we did this year in the Sharjah Archaeology Authority. This is the collections from the Maleha Archaeological Center, all the sites, and different things here. We can look at some of the coins, for example, we did this year. And you see the resolution is really quite good. And these are all scaled to the 100th of a millimeter. And anything else you might want to look at in this, what we did this year. Neolithic arrowheads from various sites, new finds, Bronze Age, stone bowls, ceramics, sculptures, pieces of bronze bowls, seals, combs from India, the coin mold from Maleha, various kinds of things. You can also search on a particular site. So you could go to Jabal Abu Hayas, and you can see all the artifacts, regardless of collection, and all the sites and tombs from Jabal Abu Hayas, just like that. Or if you're interested in Dr. Sabah's excavations at Dibba, we can see the artifacts there. I don't know why that is there, but most of the things from Dibba are here. Or, for example, Maleha. So that's just an example of how Sketchfab works. You can go to Sketchfab and create your own account, and all of our things can be downloaded for free and experienced on your own personal computer. They can be used in education. They can be used for training. You can even make 3D prints, or you can put on virtual reality goggles and look at them in virtual reality. So now I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint presentation. One moment, please. Okay, we should be back to the PowerPoint, everyone. Now we're going to look at some other things that we're doing, ways to do advanced analysis with some of these collections, 3D printing, holographic displays, augmented reality, and then eventually we're going to see some virtual reconstructions we've done with the collaboration of the Sharjah Archaeology Authority. So one of the interesting things we can do with these 3D models is we can unwrap them. We can show the designs as a panel across an entire item. So this is a stone jar with particular designs. We can unwrap the 3D model and see the exact pattern of the decoration. We can also bring these models into other programs, and you can do measurements right on the screen. So you can do measurements, and you can use any unit of analysis you would like. This is in centimeters or millimeters, of course, 29.26 millimeters for this little bronze horse from a ceramic bowl. We also, of course, keep track of everything with GPS. This is just a Google image of Khatam al-Maleha, the important rock art site near Kalba in Sharjah. And now we're going to go to our collection there, and I'll show you some more interesting things we can do. I'll have to share this screen. To share. Here we are in Khatam al-Maleha. Excuse me. So here's the site, and it's a very, very interesting place. We mapped it with drone, and then we did differential GPS. So this site is geo-referenced to a few centimeters over the entire landscape. Here's the whole mountain. The rock art you'll see is mostly in this area here. There's a shell midden here, and these numbers give you information about these places. So for example, you can click on this and we talk about probably an early Mesolithic period, late Paleolithic shell midden. The Oman Sea would have been very close here. But we can also go to particular places on the map, on the image, and look very closely. So what you see here are perhaps some Neolithic stone houses, or maybe even earlier Mesolithic stone houses, here and here, a scattering of them. There's no ceramics on this site. There's some more house platforms over here in this area. Here you see some probably Iron Age or Bronze Age tombs, very much like you'd see at Jabal Abu Hayas or one of the other sites. And then of course, the area of rock art is in this area here. So now we'll look at some of the rock art. This rock art has been exposed for many years on the surface, so some of it is very difficult to see. So for example, let me find a good example here. Here is a nice piece of a Syrian wild ass, probably Neolithic if we look at comparisons with Oman or elsewhere. And you can see these are all scaled, so you could do measurements right on the screen with this. And to make it more visible for the public, what we do is create something like this, where I use a special program that allows me to paint directly on the 3D model. So you can see this also in VR, and it gives you a nice visual image of what the item might have looked like. But some of the things are very difficult to see. So for instance, here is an ibex. And you see it's very, very difficult to see. So what we use then is a software program called D-Stretch, which allows us to look at chromatic differences in the photos. So we can enhance the photos so this ibex is much more visible. Let me give you another example. Here's a nice 3 images. The natural image here of this, I don't know what it is, but maybe an ostrich or something, but maybe just a symbol. Maybe it's a symbol of something very difficult to see. We can use the D-Stretch image enhancement to get a much more powerful image to show us the exact design. Then we can use our painting programs to make it clearly visible for people who want to see it in virtual reality. Some of the rock art patterns are much more complex. Let me scroll down to some of these. Some beautiful ones with horses and snakes, or asses and snakes and sun symbols, mostly people. But here's one, for example, where we used multiple enhancement techniques to be able to see images that were very difficult to see with the eye. And here you see horses, ibex, some kind of strange symbols, I don't know. I don't know what these are, a footprint, and other kinds of things. So some of the images are very complex. There are over 150 stones here with rock art and over 500 different symbols. So this is a work in progress. We're only about a third of the way done with this site, but we're still continuing to work and create these images for the Sharjah Archaeology Authority and for the people. Okay, now I'm going to go back to my presentation. New share. Back to the PowerPoint. Here we are. Everybody should be back to PowerPoint. Okay, so one of the things we do for education, and we've created a number of these 3D prints for the Sharjah Archaeology Authority. We did Acheulean hand axes, we did sculptures, we did ceramics, and we use a printer called a Raise 3D. It's a mid-level printer, but it allows us to print very large items, up to 60 centimeters tall. And so the next video is a video of printing a sculpture that we scanned in Sicily from a Roman site, the goddess of Morgantina. It should start, yes. So we did 3D documentation with cameras, created the model, and then we output the model to a low resolution format so they could be printed in a 3D printer. We can do this with anything, entire sites, down to points, for example. Another thing we're working at is holographic displays. And this is my son giving a demonstration using an important vase from Sharjah as an example of bringing these 3D models into holographic displays. And we can do this, of course, with archaeological sites as well as individual artifacts. And so this is going to be an important technique for the public, for school children, for education, and eventually for research. But right now, it's just a great technique for being able to share rare and important heritage with the public, things that you don't want them to hold or don't want to move them around between museums. This gives an opportunity for people to share heritage in many different ways. Another thing we've been working with is augmented reality. So here you see a vase in my phone sitting on the tabletop, and of course there's nothing on the tabletop. So how we do this is a number of different programs. We optimize the 3D models, and we can share them then in any iPhone or iPad or Android device. And here's a video example of an important sculpture from Maleha in augmented reality. So anyone could do this. It'd be on your phone, and you can show it right on your own desk and look at it and experience in 3 dimensions any of these items that we've scanned. Okay? The next example shows what we can do by showing the actual size of the item, and then we can make it larger to make it more interesting in the augmented reality. Another way we can do this is you can hold your iPhone or your iPad and walk directly into a monument. So here we are, the Tomb of Amud, and you can walk right in to the monument in your phone and experience it and turn around and experience it in 360 degrees. And we can, of course, do this with an entire site. We can do this at Katama Maleha, or we could do this at Maleha, or at any of the tombs, or Porfakan. It doesn't matter the scale or the size. We can walk right in, and people can walk through the archaeological site. Finally, I'm going to show you in a few moments our virtual reconstructions. Here's one of our virtual reconstructions, the tomb brought into this same program so you can experience the virtual reconstruction in your iPhone or your iPad. And these are some of the vases that we scanned straight from the excavation. Perfect. Okay. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to show you some virtual reconstructions of some sites we've done in and projects we've done in Sharjah. The Amidfa Mosque in downtown Sharjah, 19th century, the Tomb of Amud, Maleha Fort. And this is where we take the archaeological data, we take reconstructions done by archaeologists in relation to the excavations, we use information from the excavations to do a virtual reconstruction. Now, these have to be seen as hypotheses, right? It's not perfect, and we're using historic information to make it as accurate as possible. So here's the Al-Mitfa Mosque. Here are site plans and sections that we've done based on excavations, based on historic documents, and based on our discussions with architects in Sharjah. Here is a 3D model. Here is our first draft of the virtual reconstruction. And now we can make a film showing how this might have been lived in perhaps the 19th or early 20th century. So that's our interpretation based on our conversations with people in Sharjah and the archaeologists and the architects. Now we will go back 2,000 years to the tomb of Amud. I don't know why that is there. Escape. Okay, next. So the tomb of Amud, this is our 3D model that you have seen earlier in the presentation. And these reconstructions were based on a number of sites in the Malaha area. Different examples. And here is the virtual reconstruction. Okay. The last thing, I see someone has a question, but what we'll do is we'll show the last video and then I will take questions. I have one more image to show you. That. One more image, if I can get back to it. Here we go. That's not how I want to do this. One moment, please. One moment. Okay, I'm having one small moment of difficulties. If you just please be patient. Here we are, I'm getting there again. No, no. Okay, I lost Zoom, Alex. There we go, Zoom, share screen. Right there, I need to do this. Share, go back one to here. One moment, please. Sorry. Here we are, we're back. Thank you. So this is our, on the Maleha Fort, and the last video I will show you, and then I will happily take all the questions that you might have. This is a project we did just this spring. It was perhaps the most challenging of the reconstructions. No, this isn't the right one, is it? Oh, yes, it is. This is it. Thank you. Sorry. this is how we experiment with different hypotheses for the reconstruction. We can take things out, we can put new elements in. If somebody has a suggestion, we can add them. It's all good, it all works to the benefit of the reconstruction. Okay, back to the PowerPoint if I can. Here. I don't know why all this is here. Let me just go back to my video. And we'll go back to me. Let's see. How do I get Alex? How do I get myself here? Full screen. There we go. Okay. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. I want to thank Dr. Sabah and Mr. Isa and all of the workmen and staff at the Sharjah Archaeology Authority and on all the sites that helped us do this. It was an amazing amount of work, and we're really appreciative of all the help we received. That's really the end of my presentation. If anyone would like to ask a question or have comments, we'd very much be interested in sharing our information or knowledge. We have the Sketchfab I showed you. You can go to the Sketchfab page and see all the models. We also have a great number of videos on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel, Global Digital Heritage, and you can see all of our videos from around the world. And it worked out, and so please visit there and follow us if you'd like. And we really look forward to doing more work in Sharjah. And if anyone from other countries or places would be interested in having us work, we'd love to hear from you. We work closely with local communities, and we are available to do this kind of work pretty much anywhere in the world. And so with that, I see people have raised hands. I don't know what to do here, so let me figure this out. I'm new to this. Raised hands, raised hands. I don't know if I can link on that more.
Dr. Herbert, thank you so much for enlightening and entrancing presentation you made. We are very grateful for the time and effort you took to share your thoughts and experiences on digital documentation. Before we start with discussion, I would like to ask dear listeners to fill the questionnaires, please. And now we can start the discussion. I saw raise hand. Let's start with Mr. Jamal Saif. Mr. Jamal Saif. Okay, Miss Samira.
Jamal Safi, responsibility from the archaeology section.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Mr. Jamal Safi.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
You hear me? Hello. I am Jamal Safi from Dubai Municipality. I am from archaeology section. I work in the 3D laser section in Jordan before I came to United Arab Emirates. But I am wondering to ask the question, what kind of machine you do to scan the small artifacts like the arrowheads or the jar? Do you use the same Faro machine or another kind of machine? Thank you.
Yes, to scan the small items like coins and small jars and arrowheads, we use both techniques. We've developed a number of photogrammetry techniques. We can put them on a turntable and do multiple sides, and then we stitch all the photos together in software. But we also have handheld scanners from Faro Scanner, and we're also have experience with the Artec Spider Scanner, both of which are very good for doing 3D representations, 3D scanning of very small items, especially the handheld scanners that do structured light scanning or various kinds of blue light or whatever light are very good for shiny items and metals. But we have developed photogrammetric techniques as well. So we use both of them. And if you're in Dubai, the next time we're in Sharjah, perhaps you can come visit and we can show you how we do it. I cannot hear anyone.
Hello.
Yes.
Samira.
Dr. Herbert, first, thank you very much for this nice presentation. I'm Engineer Samira with you. I'm going to study Master of Architecture Heritage on the UAE. I need very, very much this subject. So who can help me if, inshallah, will start in this August?
Which university are you studying?
Sharjah University.
In Sharjah. Okay.
I'm already architect engineer. Yeah.
There are some people in Sharjah doing some work. There is a gentleman at the American University in Sharjah that we've done some collaboration with, and he is a colleague of Mr. Isa, and Mr. Isa might introduce you. But also, when we come back, you know, we're always excited to have students and young scholars work with us and be trained on the techniques that we use. And we can also train people over Zoom and Skype and other techniques. And so if you want to, if you have some specific questions, you can get my email address from this presentation, I believe, and the Sharjah Archaeology Authority, and you can write to me directly, and we will help you as much as we possibly can.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Samira. And now we have questions from Mr. Muhammad Bataina. Mr. Muhammad, yes?
Yes. Thanks, Dr. Herbert, for the presentation. I would like to ask about the use of this 3D data for the objects for making copies. Maybe other guys could use this data for making fake copies and sell these objects in the market as original archaeological objects. So how do you deal with these concerns? Thanks.
Is the question, are you concerned with people replicating it without permission?
Exactly, replicating it because I see it's available free on the website, as you have said. So this is my concern. Because you know the market and all this is flooded with fake objects.
Sure.
You know.
Sure. Well, on Sketchfab, our downloads are for free, but it does state on there that for non-commercial purposes. So our agreement is when we work with a organization like the Sharjah Archaeology Authority, we make all the data available for free. And for if a student wants to download and make a copy of a hand axe, we have no problem with that. In fact, we encourage that. Now, on the other hand, on the far edge, we cannot prevent someone in China from downloading it and making 1,000 copies and trying to sell them. We can't prevent them from doing that, but it's against the law. And if someone contacts us though, let's say a museum or a shop in Sharjah contacts us and says, we would like to make 100 copies of something for sale. That's not what we do. So what I would do is I would put them in contact with the Sharjah Archaeology Authority, and the Sharjah Archaeology Authority would make all the arrangements or say yes or no or decide how to approach that. So if someone asks us about this, that's how we do it. How do we prevent anyone from doing it? It's impossible. And it's just a matter of deciding that your heritage is going to be shared, and you take some chances, but for the most part, this stuff is not all that marketable. And the replicas would be made of plastic or various materials that wouldn't have a huge value except in a tourist shop. And if it's in a tourist shop, then of course the Sharjah Archaeology Authority has some ability to control such things. And that's the best answer I have. We share for nonprofit, for students, for education. We share freely. Anyone can do it, make a print of their own. For gross commercial things, they have to go to the owner of the archaeology. And we make that very clear on our website and in the agreements we have with the local authorities.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed.
Yeah. First of all, I want to thank Professor Herbert for this useful lecture and presentation and the great project of the digitalization of the global heritage. My question is about the small archaeological items like the small maybe amphoras and coins. I see only one device which take 3D pictures. The device contains of 2 cameras with a rounded base. My question is this device is enough to digitalize this small archaeological item and have full digitalization? Or there is more devices or the instruments to have the full process. Thank you, Professor Herbert, and for all.
It sounds like what you're describing is a stereo photography device. And what we use is just a standard camera. We use Canon and Sony cameras, both DSLR and full-frame mirrorless cameras. And we use a box with a turntable. And so we, in different positions with the camera, will take up to 500 to 800 photos as the turntable rotates with the item, and we'll have the camera in different positions. Then we use a software called Reality Capture to, I just got the question there. We use a software program called Reality Capture to stitch all the images and create the 3D model. Now, there are some cameras that will do stereo photography that can be used for 3D reconstruction, but the quality of imagery is not quite as good, and the material, the accuracy, the resolution as well as the point accuracy is not quite as good, and you don't get the full 3D scale that we use. So also in every one of the models that we create, we have a scale that's been in there, and every model has been scaled using digital targets. So it's accurate to approximately 1/10 of a millimeter. And that's another thing you can't do with a stereo camera. Now, anyone who wants to learn how to do this, we can help you. And we encourage it because as a nonprofit, the more people we have doing this around the world, the better it is for World Heritage. And so it's not something that we hold dear. It's not something that we consider private or proprietary. We'll help you. And literally for if you already have a camera, for less than $1,000, we can get you running on one of these machines and have you start doing your own 3D models. And this is something that we would be happy to have a seminar sometime. Perhaps next time we're in Sharjah, we can do a full day seminar for the whole region and teach people how to do this.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, welcome.
My name is Sharjah Archaeology. I'm a geologist, and I'm wondering, the archaeology has related to geography in somehow. I think that's what I think, yani.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you very well. If you could speak up just a little bit.
Okay, I'm a geologist. So I think the archaeology has related to geology. And I'm wondering, does does in our museums in Sharjah, we have topographics, maps for the areas, example for Kalba city, for it's my city. So I'm wondering, I didn't see it in our museum, this kind of maps that I learned in university. And I hope that I can have, or I can see this kind of topographics maps in our areas to teach our students about the history of our area. So I'm asking you, does we have this kind of topographics map, or we doesn't know, we doesn't have? And how can I get a connection to anyone that helped me to have these kind of topographics maps? Thank
I
you.
understand. The use of these technologies in geology is very similar to the use in archaeology. And there's actually a Sketchfab page of an Australian geology group that is doing nothing but geologic formations in 3D with drones and scanners. And they do very similar work to us. It's just not archaeology, it's geology. A number of other organizations have been doing paleontology, dinosaurs and fossils all over Sketchfab. And so that it's a well-developed technique. Now, I do not know any of the geologists in Sharjah, though I have seen some of the documentation. I don't know of anybody doing this, but it's a very simple process in the sense for doing landscapes using a drone or laser scanners. If there is a particular formation that you're interested in, next time we're there, perhaps we could do a geology project next time we're in Sharjah with some geology students and show how this is done. There's a lot of opportunity, but I don't know of anybody in Sharjah doing this, but I'm sure someone at the university in architecture or geology or geography has experimented some with using drones to do landscape reconstructions. And perhaps someone else in this presentation can let you know who that might be. But I will certainly talk to Mr. Isa and Dr. Sabah about possible contacts for people like at the university for you that might want to pursue this in other disciplines than archaeology.
Hello, Professor Herbert Isa speaking. I hope all with us today. First, I will speak in Arabic. يعني أحب نشكر الجميع على يعني تواجدهم اليوم ونقول لهم يعني عيدكم مبارك. احنا في رابع أيام التشريق ويعني نتمنى لهم كل التوفيق والسعادة. Regarding for the geological map, she can contact with the Ministry of Mineral. They have complete geological map about the Emirates. They are very big but library of the map, and they are also very important map they have about the geological and contour map. And even you can know where is in the ophiolite, where is the gabbro, where is each stone or the type of mineral in the area, in the east coast or in the west coast or in Abu Dhabi, or she can contact with the Ministry of Mineral. It's not part of our work, but we made some contour map for the archaeological site. It's very important to have some contour map for the mountain, and where is also we can find also the graves, because the layer and you have the height is very important for us to know exactly where is the location of the area. And many thanks, and not only many thanks, we are all the time we can say for you, Professor Herbert, you will come and thank every time. And we have a lot in our project. We have a lot still not finished. We have some new petroglyph area. We have also a new archaeological site. And we are continuous to work together. Maybe I can't say 1 year, 2 years, but it will be long time or long term for the work. Also, regarding the Mleha, you give us good information, and the documentation will help us to register our site, or we use all the documentation which you made it for us to be in the World Heritage, because already our file, we are working on our file, the World Heritage for registering Mleha as cultural heritage site, and all the documentation which we made it for the building in Buhais, and it will be useful for us. The materials will be useful, and even it's for the sharing information and knowledge and the report and the object between us and another museum, another type, even in Gulf, because some material, they are similar. They can see by 3D dimension, and they can by AR, they can see it on the table, and they put another object which is similar, the original one, and our object, they can compare it. It will be easy for them, better than they travel to come to us. Thank you very much, and then I will let the microphone for my colleague to speak. Thank you. So thank you a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Isa. Dr. Herbert, we have questions in chat from Mr. Khalid Habib. He asked, please, I would like to know the program that Dr. Herbert used in photogrammetry.
Yes, it's a software program from a company called Capturing Reality. And the software is actually called Reality Capture, but the company is Capturing Reality. It's a little bit expensive, but it's the fastest, most detailed and accurate program that we have available right now. It's a Slovak company from Eastern Europe, and they're doing very well. And if someone wants to write me directly, I can put them in touch with the website and other kinds of things. Anyone that would like it, I'm welcome to.
Thank you so much. And now we have questions from Mr. Al-Mu'taz Billah.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
This is Mu'taz, a scholar at the J. Paul Getty Museum. And thank you so much, Dr. Herbert, for a fascinating presentation. And actually, I have two questions. The first one, how long the 3D process with large scale, for example, with the archaeological site like Roman theater, take? And the second question about using the handheld spider with the 2D object like middle mirror. So I wonder if you had any issues or problem during this process. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'll do the second question first because that's the easiest. Yes, there's a lot of difficulties. And doing flat objects, no matter what technique you use, it's going to be difficult. We have the same problem with knives and swords, mirrors, and what you have to do is stand them up, figure out some way to hold them up directly like this, and use the handheld scanner. That's the only way it's possible. And even then, it's still difficult. Your other question, though, in relation to documenting landscapes like the Roman theater in Sagalosas, it depends on how much time we have. So, for example, the Roman building in Portugal that we showed you the video and some of the drone images, we did that in 1 day. We documented the entire thing, over 10,000 photos, several hundred scans, drone on the ground, everything in 1 day. And then it took several days to process the data. The theater in Sagalosas, we had more time. Probably we spent 3 or 4 days there, but we also did the entire site of Sagalosas, the entire city, and we were only there about 10 days. A tomb, for example, at Jabal al-Hayat, one of the tombs we can do in a few hours. And then it takes 1 or 2 days in a few hours a day to process the data. But some of the data, for instance, on the artifacts or the sites, some of the tombs, we can process in a couple of hours. If we collect the data correctly, if we have good photos and good scans and the lighting was good and we did everything right, we can go from a disk full of data to a completed 3D model in a couple of hours. And so it all depends on the place. There's some of the sites, for instance, at Maleha that we did that were easy. The data, it processed really easy. And then there's a Jabal al-Hayas, there's an unexcavated Iron Age tomb, a hill in a valley, inside a valley. And it took me days to do that one because the photos weren't quite right and the lighting was difficult. And so it all depends on the place. But usually it can go very fast.
Thank you, Dr. Herbert. And we have now questions from Ms. Mona Abadi. She asking, after making the photogrammetry photo, what kind of apps or softwares to draw cross sections of the object, especially if it is complete object?
Yes, so we use a free software program called MeshLab. That is one way that you can do sections of artifacts and see cross sections. There are a number of other free programs too, and it's not necessarily my area of specialties, but if the person asking the question were to write me directly, I'd pass it on to a couple of the team members that do a lot of sectioning of artifacts and sites and do cross sections in various ways, and we can get the exact technique. But MeshLab is an important software, and it's completely free for visualizing 3D data. You can do measurements, cross sections, you can do texture analysis and other kinds of things, and it works very well. M-E-S-H-L-A-B, MeshLab.
Okay, thank you. Now we have another question from Mr. Jamal As-Safi. Mr. Jamal.
Yes, I just asked, hello, you hear me?
Yes, sir.
You hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I asked you a question and you told me I can join you if I am in Dubai to see what's the process to doing the artifact, the small artifacts. I am working in Dubai Municipality. What time you been in Sharjah so I can come and see you or join you?
Well, right now, of course, we're all waiting on
like,
COVID-19, right?
For the job.
And both UAE and the United States COVID's a problem. But I'm hopeful that in January or February, we will be back in Sharjah. We have not finalized this with the Sharjah Archaeology Authority as yet, but that seems to be a good time for us and for them. And so perhaps if the world gets good, late January or the month of February.
Okay, thank you. And we have another question is how far this project favor to blend students, scholars? Is there any project for them during pandemic?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that question.
Questions from Dr. Malai is that how far this project favor to blend students or scholars? Is there any project for them during pandemic?
No, there's no student project right now. I know the American University in Sharjah has some students doing some 3D work with a drone and other things. And they've actually got some material online that they did, I think in Hetta. I'm not sure where it was. No, Hilo, Wadia Hilo. They did some virtual reconstruction or some 3D modeling of some monuments there. But I don't know of anything right now, but I would be happy to collaborate with a professor in Sharjah or somewhere in the region to create opportunities for students. And that's something that will take a little time to do, but I would be happy to help create a curriculum and participate in such a program should anyone have the interest. And that's something you can write to me directly. And of course, please collaborate with Mr. Isa and Dr. Sabah so we can all be on the same page.
Thank you so much. And we have also a question from Ms. Sarah Zaki. She asking, what are equipments do we need to make 3D digitalization for a site or small artifact? Also, what are the new applications of AR or VR recently used?
Right, so we use several techniques. We use scanners, LiDAR scanners, and those are the Faro scanners that collect points. We use ground-based photogrammetry cameras of different resolutions depending on what we need to accomplish. We use drones with cameras. We've experimented a little bit in Italy with LiDAR or point clouds from drones. We have not done that in Sharjah. We use handheld scanners in the museums for artifacts, and we use cameras. But you can do an immense amount of work with just a camera and turntable setup for artifacts especially. But for the field, oftentimes you do need a drone to get a broader picture to do this kind of work. I think I answered the question. There was a second half of that question, I'm sorry.
Yes. The second half of the questions is what are the new applications of AR or VR recently used?
Right. So what the new applications are being able to have an experience much like when you put goggles on, like the Vive or Oculus or other things, only without them. And as I showed in a few of the demo videos, we're developing techniques, not me personally, but members of my team, to do that on your iPhone or your Android device or on your tablet so you can experience these things in 3D. Also, the ability of the new holographic displays are exceptional and high resolution, and they allow people to experience many of these artifacts in 3D that you couldn't see in the past. But the beauty of the augmented reality in your iPad is you can actually walk around and walk into the site in your iPad and go from place to place and see different aspects of the site, different characteristics of the architecture or the excavation or whatever it might be, and experience it in ways that we have never have before. And I think that is really the future, the ability to move past the holographic display, move past the 3D goggles, and actually have anyone with a phone be able to experience the artifacts in 3 dimensions.
Okay. Miss Ibtisam.
I can't hear anyone.
We have Miss Ibtisam. Miss Ibtisam. Hello, Miss Ibtisam. Miss Ibtisam, mic is yours.
Yes, sir. You.
But please make your voice louder.
Yes.
Yeah, mic is yours, Miss Ibtisam.
Sorry that because I joined later to this video.
I can't hear anything, I'm sorry.
Me too. Miss Ibtisam, do you hear us?
Yes.
أخت ابتسام إذا سمعيتني ممكن لو سمحتي تعلي صوتك أو تقرب المايك منك لو سمحتي.
حاضر. أيوة من حضرتك.
أيوة تمام بس إنه علي صوتك شوي لو سمحتي.
ماشي.
تفضلي المايك معي.
معلش حضرتك هو أنا دخلت الفيديو متأخر فيعني فمش عارفة أسأل.
مش مشكلة بس in English please لأنه الدكتور بيعرف إنجليزي.
طب ماشي. Sorry, I joined to this video later, so I can't ask any question. Hello?
اتفضلي, we hear you.
Sorry, I joined to this video later, so I can't ask any question.
Okay, sorry for that. I will announce now that this lecture is recorded and it will be on Sharjah Archaeology Authority YouTube channel by tomorrow. So anyone missed the lecture, he can listen to hear again tomorrow. By tomorrow, it will be on the YouTube channel of Sharjah Archaeology Authority. Any questions?
Well, I want to thank everybody for participating, and it's a great pleasure to be with you today. And I'm glad this technology seemed to work fairly well. And I want to thank the Sharjah Archaeology Authority for inviting me, and Dr. Sabah and Mr. Isa, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Herbert. And thank you for our listeners. Dr. Herbert, we have one question, please. شكرا جميعا على الحضور ونشكركم على الوقت اللي اعطيتونا اياه، ان شاء الله راح نعلن على محاضره قادمه يوم الاثنين القادم، سيتم الاعلان عنها بالايام القريبه القادمه، وزي ما حكينا المحاضره مسجله وراح تكون موجوده على صفحه اليوتيوب لهيئه شارخ للاثار، وان شاء الله بتكون موجوده بكره على القناه. شكرا كثير لكم، شكرا لحضوركم وشكرا لكم. Dr. Herbert, thank you so much. Thank you for your interesting lectures. And hope we see you again here in Sharjah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.